Welcome to the SEO.co Search Engine Optimization Podcast. Digital marketing essentials and next-level tactics. From off-site and on-site optimization to persuasive selling and everything in between. You'll learn actionable tips on what it takes to outright and outrank your competition.
Custom reports. One of the lesser-known and utilized features of Google Analytics is custom reports. My favorite custom report shows full referring URLs for every referral visit, along with the destination URL on your website. So, for example, if a reader reads one of my Forbes articles and clicks a link within the article that takes them to a specific page on my website, Google Analytics allows me to see the URL of the Forbes article, along with the page on my website that the user landed on when they clicked the link. This is actionable intelligence because it shows you which specific external assets, media are generating the most traffic, and to which specific pages. Furthermore, when compared to conversion data, it's possible to see which external publishers drive the most conversions, allowing you to refine and optimize your future outreach efforts. Follow these steps to set up this custom report. 1. Log into your Google Analytics account and select your website's profile. 2. Click the Customization tab at the top of Google Analytics. 3. Click New Custom Report. 4. Click Flat Table when you're asked to select the type. 5. Click Dimensions, then select Full Referrer under Behavior, as well as Destination Page. 6. Click Add Metric under the Metrics section, then add visitors and/or unique visitors. Feel free to experiment with adding other metrics here as well, such as bounce rate or pages, sessions. 7. Click Save. 8. Click Add to Dashboard. Visit your dashboard and you'll see the report, or visit the Customization tab and then select the custom report name from the left side to see it any time. Referring to the image above, I can see that I get a lot of traffic from Forbes articles that I've published, particularly ones that relate to social media and how to drive traffic to your website. More content on Forbes that covers these angles could be helpful in my content strategy. Conversion tracking. Traffic is all well and good, but what is that traffic doing once it gets to your site? Are these people who are buying products from you, or just passers-by who kicked the tires and moved on? Conversions will be able to tell you the difference, and it's important to know exactly how many you're getting, and how much they're worth. 1. Defining conversions. First, you need to know what qualifies as a conversion and what doesn't. The potential definition is pretty broad. Any type of meaningful user activity could be theoretically counted as a conversion. By most standard definitions, a conversion would be considered to take place during a monetary transaction, such as a purchase, or an action that could potentially lead to such a transaction, such as signing up for a webinar or filling out a form. 2. Measuring conversions. Conversion opportunities are nice, but of course, you'll need to measure how often those conversions are made. Your site may have a feature in the backend to measure and analyze your conversion opportunities, especially if you use a common content management system like WordPress, so feel free to use that. Otherwise, Google Analytics has a useful section called Goals that can help you track almost any kind of conversion you can imagine. Head to the Admin tab of your account, and you'll find Goals as one of the main options. Here, you'll be able to create a separate goal for every conversion opportunity you have. Google is super helpful and has a number of templates you can choose from, including Contact Us and Place an Order, which are two common variants. Follow the instructions here. Google walks you through every step of the process. Then, you'll be able to track all your goals in the same section, or access goal data on individual report pages. For example, you'll be able to see how each segment of traffic converts compared to the others. Calculating conversion value. You can calculate exactly how much one of your conversions is worth. This is more straightforward for some types of conversion than it is for others. For example, if you have historical data on your customer's past purchases, you can easily calculate the approximate value of a customer's purchase. However, if you count a conversion as a lead, you'll need to factor in the expected lifetime value of a client, your close rate, and other variables that could influence the full equation. The more precise you can be, the better, but an estimate is okay. Calculating quantitative revenue. Once you have your goal tracking set up in Google Analytics, you can calculate the total revenue from your content marketing campaign in two separate dimensions. 1. Conversions as a measure of traffic value. First, you can use your conversion rate and conversion value to estimate the approximate worth of each new visitor. For example, let's say you have a conversion rate of 2% with 1,000 monthly visitors and a $1,000 conversion value. You'd get 20 conversions, with a total value of $20,000. Therefore, the average value of a visitor to your site is $20. You can apply this math however you like. You can look at your site's average visitor from any direction, or drill down to visitors from one specific channel or another. 2. Conversions as an indicator of content success. Don't forget your content has the potential value to encourage conversions through calls to action. You can also measure specific goals related to the calls to action your content supports, and use that information to determine how effective your content is at generating new conversions. Accordingly, you may need to segregate your conversion efforts, measuring different goals for each dimension. It may also be beneficial to work on conversion optimization as a strategy separate from content marketing, though the quality of your content can affect your conversion rates. Calculating quantitative costs. Between knowing your traffic volume, conversion rates, and conversion value, you can sufficiently estimate the approximate value of your content marketing strategy, at least from a quantitative perspective. But don't forget the other side of ROI, the amount you're investing in your campaign. Most of these factors aren't measurable through a dashboard or analytics platform, so you'll need to rely on your company's own internal financial data. Take a look at the following: agency and contractor spending. If you're working with an agency or any contractors, calculating your costs will be simple. Agencies and contractors vary wildly on price due to different levels of expertise and different niches, but for the most part, their services are reduced to either an easy-to-understand monthly rate or project-based payments. Set these costs aside, and combine them with your other expenditures to project a final cost for your content marketing efforts. Employee time and cost. When you're doing some of the content marketing work yourself, or you're relying on your full-time staff members to do the work, it's easy to forget that these forms of effort are costing you money as well. If you have a full-time employee dedicated to content marketing, all you'll need to consider here is their full-time salary, but it gets complicated when different team members are investing different amounts of time at different rates of pay. Do your best to reduce these hours of invested time and effort into a quantifiable metric, and include your own time as well. Tools and other resources. Finally, you'll need to include the monthly costs for all the tools, dashboards, and services you subscribe to in order to make the magic happen. Think carefully here. Do you use any analytics platforms, syndication platforms, management tools, collaborative tools, or communication platforms exclusively for content marketing? Include their monthly fees in your total expenditures. Collect all these sources together to estimate how much you're spending on your content marketing efforts. This is a good opportunity to assess where you're spending the most time and money, and you may find that you pay more than you thought you did. Finalizing quantitative ROI. Now that you have all the information on how much your content campaign is objectively returning to you and how much you're spending, you can estimate your campaign's total quantitative ROI. Take the average value of a conversion, and use that to estimate the average value of a site visitor. Tally up all the visitors in a month that were influenced by your content strategy, and calculate the total value of those visitors. Compare this against what you spend in a month, and voila! You'll have a rough figure for the ROI of your campaign. If your ROI is positive, congratulations! You're doing a fine job, and you should keep it up. Pay special attention to the areas of your content strategy that are performing best, such as topics, syndication channels, or formats that are especially valuable, and keep refining those. If your ROI is steady or negative, you have some work to do. Take a critical look at where you're underperforming, specifically, or where you're overspending, and work to make corrections for subsequent months. You may need to aggressively experiment to achieve a positive change, but the worst thing you can do is a negative RO. There is one additional caveat to considering your ROI, however. You need to remember there are less measurable, qualitative benefits to your campaign as well. Qualitative measurements. Now, we're going to turn our attention toward the qualitative benefits and effects of your content marketing campaign. These are just as real, and just as effective for promoting your brand, but they're not as numerically or as directly measurable as the quantitative factors we used to formulate ROI earlier. We focused on the acquisition and goals tabs in Google Analytics. Now, we're going to be spending some time in the behavior area, where you can gain insights into how users interact with your site. Brand presence. Our first stop is evaluating your brand presence. How effective is your content when it comes to promoting your brand and making it more visible to a wider audience? Answering this question can help you find weak points or strong points in your campaign. Are there certain areas lagging behind others? Are there key opportunities for development? On-site distribution. You produce a lot of content, but how much of that content is currently getting seen or interacted with? Which topics are getting more attention than others? We can find the answers to these questions in the Behavior tab. Take a look at the Site Content section, and pull up the full report by clicking All Pages. You'll see a detailed list of every page of your site that has received at least one visit within the specified timeframe, by default ranked in order of traffic. Odds are, your homepage gets the lion's share of traffic, which is represented by a slash, but if you drop down, you can take a look at how your actual content stacks up against each other in terms of popularity. Off-site presence. Next, you'll need to take a look at your off-site presence. You can do this through the referral traffic custom report you created in the last section. What are your top sources for new traffic? What kind of reputation benefits is your brand getting from its affiliation with these sources? From which sources do you see the best conversion rates? Brand mentions. You can also get a gauge for your current brand presence by seeing how often your brand is mentioned on social media. For platforms like Twitter and Instagram, you can easily see what users are mentioning you, or you could also do an in-app search for terms specifically related to your brand. But if you want to go the extra mile, you could use social listening software to help you figure out exactly how, when, and in what capacity people are referencing your brand. Brand awareness. Brand awareness is loosely tied into your overall brand presence. After all, the more prominent your brand and content are, on-site and off-site, the more aware people are going to be of your brand. But we're not just looking for the reach and value of your content here. We're trying to figure out what people know about your brand. For example, you might have content on a dozen high-authority sites generating thousands of visitors to your site every month, but do those visitors know what your brand actually does, or how it fits into your industry? Are they going to remember your brand after they give your site a once-over? Brand awareness is tricky to measure. You can use indirect forms of measurement, such as how many new followers you're able to attract or how informed your leads seem to be when you collect them. But if you want to be as accurate as possible, your best course of action is to conduct a survey. Ask people if they've heard about your brand, how they heard about your brand, and their subjective opinions on it. This can help you gauge how effective your content is at making your brand both positive and memorable.
Thank you for joining us on the SEO.co podcast. We appreciate your time. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show, and visit SEO.co for more resources based on today's topic, as well as access to more podcast episodes to help you improve your site's long-term SEO success.